I'm going to talk to you about those three wonderful letters. When I say ROI, I sound like a hedge fund manager, okay? But return on investment. If somebody's got a better one, please let me know. But essentially, it's this, okay? How much does it cost for you guys as a law firm to get a client today? We at Conscious, we track acquisition of cost through what we call a CRM system. So who's got a CRM system in their office? Brilliant. Who's still working off multiple spreadsheets on their local desktop? Okay, who's working off paper-based forms? Fantastic. That last one, if you'd have said yes to that, I would have really kicked the boot out of you. Okay, the spreadsheet thing is getting old. And the problem with it is multiple partners are using multiple spreadsheets. They don't know who's using the most up-to-date one. Worst of all, it gets deleted. And then somebody goes, finger in the air, this is what we spent last year, and finger in the air, this is what we're going to spend next year. Pretty common things that I find from a law firm. Well, anyway, what Conscious does with acquisition of cost, the average Conscious client is between £800 and £1,200. That's the cost to us to bring on board a client. That's based on our total marketing spend, divided up by the amount of prospects we bring on board, and then clients converted, and so on, okay? If you don't know your acquisition of cost today, how do you know how much you should be spending on marketing? So how do you work out your acquisition of cost? Does anybody have a... You, sir, go for it.
So I would just give my marketing director a percentage of our turnover and she goes and spends it wisely.
What a great way of putting it. She spends it wisely. I like it. Anybody else? Anybody else have any other ways of doing it? Sir, you're the only one so far to ask me a question. Okay, well, basically, what other law firms will do, they'll either do that, or essentially the partners will go, what did we spend last year? Let's take 10 grand off and let's see how we do it this year. And they'll just roll that because they want to save that money. It's understandable, okay? We adopted what we do in terms of our acquisition of cost. One thing we've done this year is we've actually ditched one of our biggest events we used to attend for the last 5 years. It's typical of what law firms do year in, year out. Who does a typical barbecue, summer event, year in, year out? It's because you've always used to doing that. You know how much it costs? Thank you, thank you. You know how much it costs, and you just continue to do it. Why? Because it's what we've always done, because we feel safe with what we're doing, don't we? Well, Conscious decided to ditch this infamous event. Been a bit of backlash from the provider, but we don't care, because at the end of the day, David Gilroy, my colleague, has said, if it's not making us money, why are we doing it? We can see clients, we can have a few drinks, we can have a bit of fun. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't generate any return on investment, what's the point in doing it? Okay? So I'll leave you with that one, a little bit of food for thought on that basis. Now, this is our infamous CRM system. We attended LegalX. Did anybody attend it this year? I highly recommend you attend it if you haven't attended LegalX before. It's in its fifth year now. But essentially, we adopt the 40-20, the 40-40-20 rule. Now, does anybody else adopt a similar rule? Would you like me to explain the rule? So, let's say I've got £2,000 of marketing budget spend. 40% of that budget is spent on new client acquisitions. 40% is spent on existing clients. The other 20% we actually spend on referrals or professional relationships. So it's a 40-40-20. In other words, this is how it would work. Say my colleague David spends £4,000 on LegalX next year. Okay? 40% of that spend, we want to bring on new clients. 40% we want to upsell existing clients. And the other 20% we'll be talking to our professional friends in the legal industry. Katchr, searches companies, those kind of things. So we adopt the 40-40-20. What most law firms adopt is the 100% rule. We spent 5 grand on it, it did nothing for us, so let's ditch it. They don't take into account existing clients, or the professional relationships, or the referral relationships. All of those can be acquisitions of cost and separated out within your marketing budget. And then we've got this little number in the corner here, 8-to-1. So the typical marketing spend, for every £1 of marketing you spend, £8 is your return. That is the average, they say, okay? Sometimes it drops as low as 5. As high as I've seen it is 11. Okay, so it's using that 8-to-1 ratio rather than the complete 100%. Because I hear too many law firms go, we've done that, it didn't work, we're going to do something else next time. Because they haven't adopted the 40-40-20. Now, we do a Conscious birthday party every year. Amanda's a wonderful guest of ours that attends in London. That slightly differs, and this will differ with your barbecues or your summer event or your Christmas party. We actually adopt the 45, then 10%, then 45 for industry friends. We don't actually invite many prospects to that actual event. Reason being, because they don't like to be sold to, clearly, and we like to keep our clients very happy and entertained, as you guys would. So 45, 10, and the remainder is for our industry friends, building those professional relationships. Now, probably not the most exciting slide, and you're probably looking and thinking, what on God's green earth is this? This is data that's been pulled from an existing client for all their matters. Now, you guys can pull this kind of information out using Katchr, so you don't have to pull or export this kind of information out of your case or practice management system. Okay? But the most important understanding of this slide is where that matter came from. So who, hand on heart, asked the simple question to your client, how did you find us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More hands up this time. Brilliant. Okay? How many people think their fee earners probably make it up? Thank you for your honesty at the back there. Brilliant. And how many people have trained their receptionist that when an inquiry comes in, that they ask that glowing question as well? 1 person. 2 people. Any advance on 2? Is that your hand up? No, you're just scratching your head. Fair enough. Your receptionist is probably the 1 person who speaks to more of your clients than anybody else. So I would start training them to ask the glowing question. If they're an existing client, then it's fine. But if it's a brand new client, hi, I'd like to inquire about X, Y, and Z services, no problem. Just out of curiosity, how did you find us? And if they say the website, say to them, that's fine. Just a little bit deeper, how did you find the website? Google, social media, paid advertising, whatever it may be. At that level, it's a very basic level. You can then start tracking how your business finds you. And then running it through the case management system, running it through Katchr, you can then start seeing your ROI and the acquisition of cost. All right? So, say you do export out this wonderful spreadsheet, and then you segregate the data and so on and so on. I'd much rather you use Katchr to do it. So this is a wonderful slide provided by Graham, showing a lot more information, and the most important part, it's a hell of a lot quicker. Who builds in 6-minute increments? Pretty much most of you do. So why spend your life in the world of Excel when you can spend your life in the world of Katchr? Pull that information together for you. When I saw this, it was music to my ears and eyes when I saw that clients can get this level of data in terms of understanding where their clients come from and how their business is then translated into real money. So if Katchr's doing this, fantastic. If you're not doing this, I would ask why. Okay? Now, another spreadsheet. My colleague David, if you know him well, loves the world of Excel, okay, but I try and get him away from it. I'd love to find something that's for an agency for Katchr. But this is what we do at Conscious. Actually, no, this is, a slide from one of our clients with a turnover of 5.5 million, okay? I won't tell you who they are for obvious reasons. But what we've done with this is we've taken out their total marketing spend, okay, and we've divided it across the categories, and then we've split it out going across in terms of new biz, existing, and client referrals. Who splits out their marketing budget spend at a level of this? 1, Forbes, brilliant. Anybody else? 2? No? Then how are you going to understand where those referral channels and what kind of business those referral channels are going to generate? The acquisition of new businesses, or breaking down all those areas and categories for you. How are you going to understand where the businesses started coming from, rather than just saying website, print, and event? You need to split out all those avenues, because without doing it, all you're doing is in the finger in the air moment. All the modern law firms are doing this, by the way. We're seeing more and more clients come to us and say, can you break out our referrals, how we're doing it? We're actually taking data from the client. So if we manage their website, we take the client's data, we take the website data, we amalgamate the two, and we get a fantastic spreadsheet of understanding how much it costs, even down to the level per click, that even translates through to a business. So the client, one of our clients has gone, right, so if I spend X amount on SEO, it's going to generate so many clicks, that's going to generate so many inquiries, so many business matters. We've reached it to that level. Now I get, you're probably thinking, who on God's green earth's got the time to do that? We have. Because the more we can show a client, if they spend X on SEO, more inquiries, more matters, they're going to up their spend with us. So we like to demonstrate to our clients, if you're going to spend it with us, your ROI, we will return back to you. All right? We've now got a group of 31 law firms who spend basically effectively their marketing budget with us. And across the spend, the average is 2.1% of their total global revenue. I say global because we've got some firms that are abroad as well. Who spends 2.1% of their annual revenue on marketing? 1, 2, any advance on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Brilliant. I've seen it as low as 1%. I've seen it as high as 12%. That's a personal injury firm, so no guesses as to why they're spending that kind of money. So out of that spend that they've got, they spend 40%, or a smart firm at the moment is spending 40% of that on digital. Is anybody spending less than that? So take your 2.1%, the average, and they're spending 40% of that on their digital marketing. There's a law firm in the Northeast, I can't tell you who they are. They took their traditional marketing, they halved it, and they doubled their digital because they saw where the benefits were going. Traditional marketing, in other words, holding events, paper-based advertising, radio adverts, if you're still doing those, without trackable numbers or details. They were doing all of this. As soon as they saw the benefits of digital, they just halved it. And they generated more matters since doubling that effort around digital marketing. So, this is the acquisition of cost. So you can see there in the bottom left-hand corner, or for those with bad eyesight, so we've got £149 for new clients, £45 for existing clients, that's selling into existing clients, or a cost per referral. Who tracks their referral costs? Nobody. So what do you do when you're paying out your referral charges? How are you banking that money? How are you working out what to spend next year? Do you work out what you spent the year before? How do you work out that referral relationship ongoing? Is that referral relationship even worth carrying on? So the law firm that we worked with on this particular one, we worked on all their SEO and website stuff, but we didn't work on their PPC. But we demonstrated to them that it's better to sell to your existing clients and make more money than it is to try and get a brand new client. How hard is it to get a client these days? Very hard. How easy is it to lose one? You can lose one like that, can't you? So why not sell to existing clients and improve your bottom line rather than spend more money trying to get a new client and competing against others? They coined the term milking your own cows, okay, or low-hanging fruit. All right, so I would look at your existing client base. Start doing those 2 dirty words, cross-selling. Now I get sales and marketing are 3 dirty words in the legal industry, but you need to get used to that a law firm is a business. Okay, and a business sells a professional service. I get that it is, a distinguished place to be in, but you are selling professional services. So you guys need to understand that cross-selling, getting your fee earners instead of doing blinkering with their conveyancing, they're going, oh, wills and probate over here, I'll give that one over there. Stop being so precious with them and get them to cross-sell and get them to start to talk to other teams, commercial teams. I've got a client who works with, basically they do conveyancing from one side of his business, and then they do effectively commercial for the other side. They didn't even know he did commercial work. And they cross-sold it. Now they do loads of work for him. And I said, how did that come about? And he said, our fee earners got their heads above the parapet and talked. That's all they did. And they saw what other services were available to them. Very simple, another PowerPoint, an Excel presentation for you. With this slide, the returning clients, as I mentioned, it's easier to cross-sell. It's only £12.41 per cost matter. Now, this is broken down across these avenues. This is the one we didn't do PPC for. But what we have managed to do since we've started working with them is they've spent less on PPC because we now do it more effectively for them. And their referral fees, well, they're spending less on referral fees because they're generating more with direct traffic. Who's doing pay-per-click at the moment in their firm? Who's doing it themselves? Thank you. I see more and more companies or law firms trying to do pay-per-click themselves and get into hot water. Do you want to hear a real bad case scenario? The law firm that spent £36,000 over 2 years because she had repeat auto-renewal on her credit card with Google. Worst of all, she forgot it was even there. £36,000. So let's go about tracking. Google Analytics. Who doesn't know what Google Analytics is? It's free software for your website. Okay? You can put Google Analytics, bit of code on your website. You don't have to be a techie. And it will tell you where your visitors are coming from. Are they coming from social media? Are they coming from paid advertising? Is it coming direct? Okay? This information, by the way, Google Analytics, I don't recommend you go and look at Google Analytics because you'll be here in 3 weeks' time still going through the data. All right? We have specialist teams that basically break down this data for our clients. But it's free, and it will track everything on your website. Next thing is Tag Manager. Now, this is something that Google created to help you track everywhere across your website. So who's got those little V-card emails on your website? Yeah? Google, who's got the LinkedIn? Click to see my LinkedIn profile. You can put Google Tag Manager. Again, it's free. So most people say to me, well, Rich, most people will just click my email and come through to me. Well, let's track it then. Let's see if they're clicking on that or they're clicking on the forms. Either way, I'm going to be able to tell what your website's doing and if it's working for you. So Google Tag Manager is a great way of understanding all those little clicks and where it's happening and what forms are being filled in. Now, this takes me to the next level. This is something called Ruler Analytics. Now, this will track when people are phoning through to you. So has anybody done an event where they've asked your client, or you've asked your clients, to scan a QR code? Anybody done that? Please don't ask them to do it. It's the worst thing ever. It's a little barcode, but it's impossible to scan on your camera. Believe me, I've done it. But the idea with Ruler Analytics, it's trackable phone calls. Does anybody track phone calls through to their website today? Either you're dumbstruck faces or you're all saying no in your heads. Okay, let me show you what Ruler Analytics will do. Let's take, for example, we've got 3 telephone numbers. We've got one for SEO, search engine optimization. In other words, if I type in conveyancing solicitor, Farnham, okay, and Baker Law will show up. The second one will be pay-per-click. So I type in conveyancing solicitor Farnham, and an advert will pop up. And then the third telephone number is I type in Baker Law solicitors, and Baker Law, the URL, www.bakerlaw.co.uk shows up. Each one of those clicks will take me through to a direct telephone number, and I'll call through to it. Essentially, what that will do is, based on similar to this slide at the moment, I will then be able to judge, is SEO, pay-per-click, or direct traffic, how my clients are finding me today, or how they're finding Baker Law. So rather than going, let's spend 10 grand on PPC and see how it goes, let's spend 5 grand on social media, let's see how that goes, let's spend 2 grand on SEO, let's see how that goes, you're able to track exactly what's happening. Because if SEO is working really well and your pay-per-click ads are not, who actually clicks on the ads today, by the way? Nobody does, do they? If you have what they call commercial intent, so I'm in a position to buy, then I click on the advert. We're a Google partner, so we get a little bit of information behind the scenes. But essentially, if SEO is doing really well, because that phone's ringing off the hook with that telephone number, and pay-per-click's down here, you're going to spend more with your SEO, and you're going to drop your PPC, because more people are contacting you via SEO. Okay? So it's called Ruler Analytics. It's a third-party tool. It's a great piece of software. They've just been, I think, announced as one of the marketing digital, what's the word I'm looking for, growth companies this year. And the guy on there is called Dan. If you want an introduction, I can put you through to him. But I'm seeing more and more law firms using this to understand where their clients are coming from, rather than asking that glowing question or asking their fee earners to go, how did you find us? Or making it up, which is even worse. Then this is your digital nirvana. Has anybody gone on a website, let's say a coffee website, and then 2 minutes later the phone's rang, and it's the person at the other end from the coffee website asking, would you like to buy some coffee? Or it might be a holiday website. Anybody had one of those things happen to them? Yeah? They're using what's called reverse lookup IP. That's as technical as I'm going to get. This is candy. Once you've got all your digital marketing intel, you know what your acquisition of cost is, what if you could know exactly who was looking at your website, every time they came back, what pages they were looking at, but most importantly, their name? Would that scare anybody a little bit? A little bit Big Brother-esque? Yeah. Katchr started using this 4 or 5 years ago. We now understand who's looking at our website. What we don't do is pick up the phone the next day or within a couple of hours and go, hi, Amanda, you were looking at my website. You were looking at professional services around pay-per-click, weren't you? Because, Amanda, what would that do to you? Freak you out, absolutely. We're not in the habit of freaking out solicitors, okay? We're in the habit of helping solicitors. So what we simply do is either send you a quick email, or if we've seen that you've been at an event, either way, we draw up the picture of you and we put it into our CRM, and it helps us understand what you want from us, rather than me going, hello, here's 50,000 services, please buy them all. No, okay, thank you, goodbye, or scaring the devil out of you and phoning you up later. So this is helping you understand what your clients want, but most importantly, every time they come back. And it'll tell you when they're in a buying pattern, because the higher the number, the better they are. So this is Candy. It's another third-party tool that's out there at the moment. So once Conscious has all the wonderful information, in the top left-hand corner, we've got our suite CRM. Bottom left is Ruler, as I mentioned. The right-hand side, that's the client that actually gives us the total number of cases opened up that month. We then benchmark it against all the website data we hold on them. And we give this wonderful spreadsheet and we say, here you are, here's the graph, and here's the growth of the inquiries and what matters have been opened off the back of it. We're able to demonstrate ROI. If your agency is not in that position and they're going, spend more money with us because we'll create more leads, ask them to show your ROI first. And this is something recently Google has released. Again, it's free. It's Google Data Studio. So Google Analytics is good. Think of Google Data Studio as like Katchr. It basically processes all that information and puts it into a lovely PowerPoint PDF spreadsheet. Okay, but here I'm able to see from my client a lot more easier information, popular pages, and so on. So it's pulling in SEO information, pay-per-click information, direct traffic, all into a very simple report. Again, it's completely free. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.